Hello everyone, Fox here, and today we're going to be talking about the Bundle Up Pack stream announcement. This is what the game looks like, having updated the patch. Looks like I can change my gamma. I am just going to leave it at the default level, because I think the game is too dark. And people say, or someone has said that it's more me because I have special settings. The settings I have are, let me go right over here. You go into your Xbox menu, you go to, where is it? TV and display options, and you go to calibrate TV, right here. And you go through this, and this will tell you the settings that you should be using. It says right there, calibrate your TV to get the best visual experience for games, movies, and TV. So I'm using the Xbox recommended settings, and it works fine for every game except State of Decay 2. And the TV I'm using right now is a Vizio, and my computer monitor is a Samsung. And I haven't messed around at all with the brightness settings on my Samsung. It's still too dark, rather. It's too dark on them both. So I don't think it's me. And they're constantly, Undead Labs is always answering questions about, like, oh, are you going to make the game brighter? Brant even made a comment that nobody likes how dark the game is, but they don't care. They think it's fine the way it is. So no, I disagree completely that it's a special case scenario that my TV is too dark. I think the reverse is probably true. The people who don't have an issue where it's too dark, it might be their monitors that are too bright. Anyways, Bundle Up Pack. Even the Zeds are shivering. Yep, it's cold outside. Let's see, in with the new. New firearms, melee weapons, close combat weapons, jackets, hats, new mod. I wrote down a bunch of notes. That's what we're going to be talking about in this episode. New bounty broker challenges, out with the old. Yes, they're getting rid of the World War II guns. They're gone. I'm not sure if they've gone literally right now, but we'll find out in a moment. And, yeah, more stuff coming along the way. So today's going to be an intermission episode. We're going to be going to my primary Nightmare Zone community, which is right here. And instead of answering the community questions, I'm going to be answering I'm going to be talking about what they talked about in the live stream. So this is for the Bundle Up Pack. So my first note is that the World War II weapons are retiring. And that means that they're either gone now, or they will be gone very soon, meaning you won't be able to buy them anymore from the bounty broker. And yeah, there are some good weapons in there, namely the Barrow-style bar, which is a rifle that is stuck on automatic fire. It has no other fire selection option, which is good because it means your allies are forced to shoot it automatic, which is really good for home defense. It's noteworthy that they said in the stream that everything will come back eventually. Like, just because it's time limited doesn't mean that it's gone forever. I don't know why they're doing this whole cycling thing. They explained it. I don't agree with their reasoning for why they're cycling it out. We'll talk about that a little later. Yeah, like, why do they need to cycle? That was the next thing. We'll talk about that. We could talk about that right now, I guess. No. Let's just go through the items. So, actually, we'll see the items when we get to the bounty brokers, so we'll do that later. So let's talk about the reason why they are cycling the weapons out is apparently because they think it will confuse people. It would be too many things for people to keep up with, and therefore, oh, I actually want that. Where's my BFG at? It's going to be way down at the bottom of the list. They think it's going to confuse people if there's too many of them. You know, it's going to mess with the economy if there's too many of these weapons that are available. And I think that's garbage. I think that's dumb. There could be a point where there might be too many weapons and it might confuse people, but we're talking about way more than what they currently have. Like, you know, people aren't stupid. Like, they're going to be able to tell. They're going to be able to see that there are these weapons available. Maybe when you get to like 10... oh, excuse me. Maybe when you get to like 10 pages, you'll have a problem where, oh god, it's getting confusing. But not right now. Like, there's not that many things. Another one has something to do with the economy. Like, I don't know what they're talking about. Most of the weapons are not good. There's only a handful of them that are really, really good. Like this one right here, the high-angle rescue hatchet. That's one of the only bounty broker weapons that are actually good, so I don't know what it's going to mess up in the economy. The best weapons in the game are typically not from the bounty broker, so they're not going to be affected by it, so I don't know what they're talking about. I disagree with that. I think they're doing it just to create artificial scarcity. And by that I mean, you know, in the real world there's a limit to how much availability of something exists because, you know, they got to manufacture it. But this is just online data. There isn't really a limit to how much online data. And I think what they're doing is just simulating scarcity where there doesn't need to be a simulation of scarcity, so... I think that's, I don't think it's necessary. I disagree with it. But now we're here, let's go take a look at the bounties.
Sure that the blood plague was a side effect from people getting vaccinations. I can't believe people that dumb are still alive.
Greetings. Do come in.
Okay, let's get rid of that.
Might we chat for a bit?
Okay, let's see. Are the World War II weapons available? No, the World War II weapons are gone. So if you don't have the World War II weapons, yeah, well, let me just read them off. We got Critical Response, Go Bag, Fearsome Footage, Trumbull Valley, yeah. So it's too late. If you didn't get the World War II weapons, they're gone. Here's the new one. We've got the Kill Ferals with Explosives, okay, for a hat. Craft Crossbow Bolts, that's a pretty easy one. Craft Painkillers, that one's not too bad. Kill Bloaters with a crossbow, that one's pretty easy. Kill a Juggernaut with a pistol. I didn't know if you could do that. I guess you just have to shoot the crap out of it. Kill 25 armored zombies in close combat. Do they mean in melee combat or specifically with the close combat skill? Dismember zombie arms, that's an easy one. Kill 8 bloaters with fire, also an easy one. So let's see if we can get these construction ones done real quick.
It won't be easy, but I have faith in you. Take care.
Because we could potentially do it from here. Or I'm going to be low on materials. That's also a possibility. Let's pull this out. And put in the bolt crafting toolkit. What do I need to make? Painkillers. So let's go ahead and... Oh, we have the pill press already. So let's just start making painkillers. How many do we have to make? 30. Okay, let's just make the one that is the most plentiful. We get 9. Yeah, let's just make a bunch of these then. Weak painkillers, does that count? Yes, it does. So that's an easy one. Get you out of the way. One more. Okay, that one's done. Let's call in a material trader, because I'll probably actually need that.
Hey, I'm at your base with some building materials. Trade these?
So we're getting the knit ear flap cap olive green, which is obviously one of the clothing items. And obviously, you can tell now that, as I thought the bundle up pack was a bounty broker thing, like I did not think there would be anything to do with, what do you call it? Killing bloaters with fire, because we have one of those already. Screamers with a vehicle, that one actually looks pretty simple. Have they installed this yet? In 7 seconds they will. Yeah, I didn't think that there would be any, you know, significant gameplay changes. It looks like my predictions were pretty accurate, so... including the mod. It looks like that was a mod. I believed it to be a mod because it was so similar looking to many other mods being on that wooden bench. So let's start making these. How are we looking? Okay, we just need to make one more. Whoa. Okay. That's another one down. I like how these ones aren't as difficult. Some of the bounties, I think, are really tedious. So we get another item. A clothing item. We get bomber jacket, crimson. Barrels with explosives. Juggernauts with a pistol, close combat, bloaters killed with fire, dismember 70 zombie arms. That one's also pretty easy. Bloaters with a crossbow. Those kind of have anti-synergy, so let's do this one. Let's head back to base. Okay, so, as you saw, let me go ahead and read the weapons off. There is the fire poker, which is a new blunt weapon. There is an ice axe. Oh, I just ate pizza, so my throat's a little congested. There's an ice axe, which looks a lot like an ice pick. To me, they seem very similar. There is an antler knife, which is a close combat weapon. There is the 1911 The Producer pistol, which is it's a 9mm pistol that looks a little different than other 9mm pistols, but I think it also might have slightly better performance, but is otherwise pretty much the same kind of weapon. And then there is, I think that's it. There might be another pistol called the M9. I wrote it down, and I'll have to double check though. But yeah, and then there's the clothing, there's jackets and hats, and then there is the mod, which is the wood burner. And that's what they have, that's what we're getting in this. The main thing I want to talk about, though, are the balancing changes, because there are balancing changes. Okay, this is actually a pretty good one. It has a high zombie dismemberment. So that means I can chop up their limbs pretty easily. Okay, I can also just hack off their head as well. Why didn't that count? He clearly has a dismembered arm. Let's try this again. Okay. Okay, that's clear. This guy clearly doesn't have arms. I can't believe that counted as a bite. He bit, and then I walked into him after his animation was completing, and they're like, oh, he bit you. That's weird. I wonder if that's a bug. I also wonder if maybe I need to shoot their arms off. Yeah, materials are depleted. Let's go ahead and buy some materials real quick. Fix that problem up. Good. So the next thing is, let me look at my list. We've got... Oh yeah, they've modified some of the vehicles. So there's new changes to vehicles. They're going to have more storage now.
Yeah, here's your shit.
Basically, if an Apocalypse upgrade says that they should get more storage, they're going to get more storage, and that means that there is an Apocalypse vehicle that's going to have 7 slots of storage now, and there is now a first of its kind, an Apocalypse vehicle that will have 9 storage. And it's specifically going to be the van, the Apocalypse van. So that van will officially be the most effective storage vehicle in the game now. Oh, that's not it. I want to call in an ammo trader as well.
Alright, kids. I brought you some ammo. Let's trade.
So, I mean, that's going to make some of the Apocalypse vehicles quite a bit better, just because I felt like, for the most part, Apocalypse vehicles just really weren't worth it. Like, they weren't effective enough. But this could make them more valuable. I mean, there's no other way to explain it other than that. They're going to be better now. Let's try... where's my Eternal Guard? Let's see how this... maybe I need to shoot their arms off in order to... Don't I have the Clio Accelerator?
I'll tell you, I could have done a lot worse than you guys.
But that's it for vehicle changes. Oh, here's probably the biggest change that they're making, and I'm not too happy with this change. It is they are going to be trying to make brakes, and I'm talking about weapon attachments, the brake more effective. And in their attempt to make the brake more effective, they are going to be making the suppressors less effective. So they're actually going to be nerfing the suppressor and trying to improve the brake. Okay. I clearly blasted this guy's arm off. And this is why, so right now, that's the reason why I think it's a bad idea, because of what just happened there.
Damn, I'm good.
You see how we got all these ferals here? This is the reason why you don't use, this is why you use brakes. Or this is why you don't use brakes. Because you don't want to get all these zombies attacking you. So basically, the logic is that people aren't using brakes, and they want to make brakes more effective. And their way to make brakes more effective is to increase the bonuses on brakes, but also to reduce the benefits of suppressors. So, and that's a very important thing, especially if you're playing on Nightmare Zone. What this means is that the brakes, their special effects are going to be more pronounced. Specifically, it's going to be kind of like you're supposedly shooting a heavier caliber bullet. They're going to knock zombies down more frequently. They're going to dismember zombies more frequently, and they're just buffing up the effects up. But in return, what we're getting is silencers are just going to be universally less effective. They don't make weapons as quiet, and they no longer bring weapons down to the same level of quietness either. By that I mean, take this weapon right here. Let me pull this off. Detach mod. So the loudness on the weapon is, where's the light? It's pretty loud. And before, when you put a silencer on, it would silence it pretty decently. And now, as you can see, it's actually quite a bit worse. Like, before, it would bring it up to maybe 75% strength. And this is with the best silencer in the game. This is the advanced suppressor. And so, like, basically, in order to have your weapon be noticeably silent, you're going to have to just use a weapon that's silent to begin with, like a very low-caliber weapon. So that's basically going to be a direct nerf to any higher-powered weapon, like the Eternal Guard's Infinite Rage, that you were using as a silent weapon. All of those weapons are now going to be a lot worse. And the issue here is that it's just a dumb decision, because brakes are just bad. Like, they're not bad because their stats aren't good. They're bad because you don't need what they offer. Like, the benefit that you get from brakes, you don't need it. And to be more specific, your goal when shooting a zombie with a gun is not to dismember it. It's not to knock it down. Your goal when you're shooting a zombie is to kill it by shooting it in the head. And a brake does not improve your ability to shoot a zombie in the head. Your goal is just... It doesn't matter if you're shooting a little pipsqueak pea shooter. It doesn't matter if you're shooting some kind of like monstrously amazing gun. So I need a pyro launcher. I need to burn some bloaters. It doesn't matter the strength of the bullet. All you're trying to do is shoot the zombie in the head. And to emphasize this even further, it is a bad idea to shoot a weapon on Nightmare Zone without a silencer. Like, that's just a bad idea. You don't want to do it. And now what you're going to have is a situation where... Wait, give me some of the ammo from these. Yeah, give me some of that ammo. So I can burn some bloaters. Where's my grenade launcher at? Don't I have a regular grenade launcher? I could have swore I did. Don't I have bombs I can throw it at a feral or something? Here's some hand grenades. Some pipe bombs. We'll try some of these out. So yeah, we're not getting zombie dismemberment, so I'm guessing that's bugged. But yeah, getting back on topic. You don't want to shoot a gun on Nightmare Zone without a silencer because of what just happened. It just attracted all those enemies, and now you're telling me that what you want us to do is put a brake on it. Something that makes the gun even louder so that you can knock a zombie over, so that you can dismember a zombie more effectively. But in return, you're going to knock a zombie over and then attract a horde. You're going to blast the arm off of a zombie, but in return, you're going to potentially attract a feral horde. It's just not worth it. It's what is the point of knocking over zombies with your guns? That's not what you're trying to do. You're just trying to blast their head off. So you're making the silencer, basically, in order to try to make the silencers a better weapon, or I mean the brakes a better option, you're making... Let's use these. I'll buy that and this just to see if we can blow up a feral. And so you're gonna make the suppressors worse, which is really the only attachment you would ever want to use. And despite the changes to brakes, despite making them better, you'd still never want to use a brake. The only time you would want to use a brake is if you're playing on standard zone, and then it just doesn't matter. Like on standard zone, then the weapon noise, it's not going to attract as many zombies, but it's also just really easy, so it doesn't matter. But on Nightmare Zone, you would never want to use a brake, except possibly in home defense. But even then, you wouldn't want to use it in home defense because the reason you would be using... Oh, here's a screamer we can run over.
Yeah, that'll keep
There we go. Because when you're using home defense weapons, you're... Here's a bloater that we can kill with a pyro launcher. That didn't count. Really? Does it count as an explosive, I wonder? Or it could also be bugged. But one of the two. I'll have to go grab some Molotovs. And see if that is actually what we need to use. I know one way we can get these screamers out is... I left a lot of infestations hanging around. So we might be able to do that. Let's go get the thing for the feral. Although I need to kind of get some distance from him. Let's also run this screamer over real quick. Got him. So overall, I just think it's a misguided decision. And I think it's misguided specifically because... No, not gonna work. Well, actually it might. While he's burning, let me see if I can... abandon this one. There we go. Oh. Where's my grenade launcher? Okay, he's still alive. That did count, very nice. And let's head over here to my outpost so we can rearm. Fling this guy off of my vehicle. Overall, I just think that Undead Labs, they don't mechanistically understand the finer details of their game, because the answer is not that we need to make brakes better. The answer is that we just don't need brakes. Brakes are just not good. And improving them does not make them better, which is funny, because they are technically better, and they're still not going to be useful. Because knocking zombies over, dismembering them with guns, dismembering zombies in general is just not, it's just not valuable. Like, that's not what you're trying to accomplish. It's not like Dead Space where that's how you kill that's how you kill the necromorphs, is by dismembering them. It's just not what you're trying to do. Let's see what else they did in the game. No changes to lighting. Once again, people are complaining that the game is too dark, and once again, they're like, no changes. They brush it off real quickly, like, no changes to lighting, because I think they get mad that people don't like the lighting in the game. Like, I might be reading into it, but they always seem to want to brush that off, like they don't want to confront the idea that maybe they've made the poor decision of making the game too dark. Let's go bring out some of these. And then let's also create some... Oh, I can't do it without the heavy ammo press. Alright, let's go try out our... Now, we had a group of bloaters around there. Here's a screamer. Let's go run him over. I want to get rid of that so it stops confusing me. But I'm hoping in State of Decay 3, because that's probably the next time that that people would be likely to, where we could expect to get a change to the lighting. Hopefully in State of Decay 3 they make the game a little bit brighter, or about as bright as State of Decay 1, honestly. I know some people will say, what about artistic vision? You know, isn't it okay for, you know, them to create the game the way they want? Sure, certainly. It's also okay for people to say that they don't like it, that it's a bad decision. And also, just because something can be artistic doesn't mean that it can also be bad. It can be artistic and bad at the same time. It can be both. And I think that is... So basically, why is the darkness so bad? It's because it's just not interactive. Subnautica is even darker than State of Decay, but they give you ways to interact with the darkness. They give you ways to light it up. The darkness plays an interesting role in the game. Let's go ahead and make some grenade launcher ammo. Whereas in State of Decay, there is no benefit. Like, the darkness is just dark. Like, there is no special nighttime enemy that it's like, oh, isn't that neat that at nighttime certain enemies come out? There is no, like, EXP bonus, like, oh, it's nighttime, it's more dangerous at night, so your character gains EXP or influence faster. There's just no benefit to playing at night. There's no way to skip the night, there's no way to make the night better. Like, I mean, you can increase the gamma, but honestly, for me, I have to crank the gamma all the way up to the max. I have to crank it up to basically as high as it can get in order to, you know, decently see through it. And then it looks like a layer of baking soda is on my screen, so I think that they're just being stubborn. Like, I think they just don't want to accept criticism of the game, that that they made an artistic choice to make the game darker, but they did it in a really lazy way that isn't fun. And as a result of their artistic choice, they have made the game less fun. I think that's what you're looking at. I didn't throw it far enough? Yes, I did. Get them off the vehicle. Let's see. I need to get to those screamers. Unfortunately, the security fence is making this a little bit harder. Got him. I don't want to get trapped inside of here, so I'm going to be a little more cautious. Oh, I lost my door. That's not good. Let's head back to base, just because like you don't want to mess with don't mess with Nightmare Zone with a broken driver's side door. Like that is not an advisable thing to do. You want to make sure that you don't get pulled out by zombies. Don't know where that pod of bloaters went, that group of 3. So on the other hand, I do like that they increased the storage capacity. I don't want to make it sound like I just shit on all of their all their ideas all the time. I think they do make a lot of really bad, misguided ideas. I'm not going to take that back. But at the same time, I do agree that adding more storage to the... Maybe I can blow up a feral? Did I get him? It's lagging like crazy. Uh-oh. Did my game freeze? I think my game froze. Yep. The game froze. Of course it did. Oh boy, that's State of Decay 2 for you. Whenever they add something, something always breaks down as well. Well, I'll see you once we are back in. Okay, we are back. And it looks like I did not get credit for blowing that feral up, unfortunately. Also not surprising. Sorry if I repeat myself a lot in these videos. It's very difficult without a script and without recording off, you know, like just speaking into the microphone. It's very easy to lose your place and forget what you were talking about last. So it's, if I have a tendency to repeat myself, that's just the result of not speaking with a script, and that's actually why I script all of the important videos. But, that's basically everything. What I want to do before this is I would like to get the screamers done, and I'd like to get the ferals done. That's kind of my goal right now. Wow, I like how the lighting is just going crazy right now. Let's go ahead and call in some repair kits.
We need you for a rescue mission.
Okay, looks like I don't have any.
They took our surgeon.
Still two.
Be able to take back this fucked up world after all.
Let's just lure these zombies inside. Oh yeah, the mod. So what does the mod do? That's another thing on my list. So the mod gives you +3 morale, and you just need materials. It doesn't consume materials, like you don't lose materials for having it, but you just need to have access to materials. It just gives you +3 morale. So it's very similar to the comfy chair, and that's actually not bad. The comfy chair is not a bad mod, to be completely honest. What you would basically do with it is just stick it into any facility that doesn't have something.
Blood plague's ass out of this town.
Shut up, I don't care. There's some screamers right there, that's awesome.
Rebuilding. I have a few ideas on that topic.
Ugh, I need to put some stuff in.
I think we're getting the hang of all this.
Okay, now we can repair. I mean, like, okay, so let me go ahead and recap my thoughts. What I'm really trying to say about the suppressor and the whole issue with the suppressors and the what do you call it? Come on, give me my stuff. And the brakes is that this is not... They're saying that they are improving the brakes, but what they're really doing is reducing the power of the suppressor. That's what they're actually doing. And the reason I want to phrase it this way is because the improvements that they're making, they don't matter. Like, people are not going to use brakes more as a result. They might check the brakes out, but once they see how much trouble they get into because they're using the brakes, and once they see how unimportant it is to knock zombies over, like once they see that the real goal is to see if I can hit them without getting the... Ah, I missed it. So I can't burn the bloater without accidentally killing the... Well, now it doesn't matter. So what we need to do is just wait for the gas to clear. But yeah, once people put on the brakes and they realize that it's just not worth it, they're going to shoot once and, oh my god, I knocked a zombie over, and then like a whole horde of zombies appears as the result of firing a noisy weapon, and they see like that wasn't worth it at all. What you're going to see is that those improvements are meaningless. Like, they're not going to cause people to use brakes more. Like, and all they really did was make suppressors worse. All they did was make high-powered weapons worse. All they did was make... Why did my guy... I was holding the X button down. There we go. Someone's going to answer that question in the comments, like, oh, this is why you closed your door. A lot of times when I just make those, I'm just thinking out loud. I don't actually want an answer. I'm just reacting to what I see. But yeah, that's what's going to happen. They're gonna use it. They're gonna shoot. And then like they're gonna get attacked by like 3 ferals, and then they're gonna be like, oh crap, this was a terrible idea. Like, why did I ever do this? Like, why did I ever use brakes? Like, this is the reason why I don't use brakes. And like I said, you know, people might use it on standard zone, but that's because it doesn't matter. And then it further doesn't matter because it's an easier, much easier game mode that you don't need to knock the zombies down because it's easy. You can just beat the crap out of them like normal. So I think it's just a really misguided idea. What would I have done? I would have increased the power of the brakes like they did, that's fine, sure. Try to make brakes more effective, even though I don't think it'll actually make a difference. But what they should not have done was decrease the strength of suppressors. Like, I don't understand why they would do that. It's like, they make suppressors worse and reduce the amount of interesting weapons you can use, because now, when you attempt to use the higher caliber weapons like the AK-47, it's going to be less effective even with a silencer. Come on, where are the zombies at? Come on out. Yep, come out. And what you're doing is you're basically going to box people into using the low caliber weapons. Like, you're basically saying that you need to use a 22 caliber weapon or a 9mm weapon because all the other weapons are now too noisy. Even on Nightmare Zone, a silenced weapon can still be fairly noisy. So now it's going to make these weapons even less useful, and you're going to box people into using less weapons. So it just doesn't seem like a good idea. I just disagree with it completely. I think it's just going to make the game less fun. Because what you're doing is, you're not adding options. You think that you're adding in, oh, it'll be fun. Now people will have to make the tactical choice between brakes and suppressors, but in reality, you're not doing that. No one is going to use suppressors, and now you're just taking away the tactical flexibility of the big, powerful guns. That's all that's really going to happen. So I just think it's a really bad decision. Don't know where the screamer is. And he doesn't want to come out to play.
I got problems.
Let's try a different infestation. Let's try this one over here. On the other hand, I do agree with the expansion to the vehicle slots. I think that's really good because overall, I think that was that a feral sound? No. Overall, I feel like the Apocalypse vehicles kind of stink. And I think this is going to go some ways to making them more effective. I think that the Apocalypse vehicles, I might start building some of them now that you have the 9-slot option. Like, I think that's actually pretty good. Ah, here's one right here. Squish you.
Yeah, that'll keep you quiet.
Let me see if I can find one more. It's going to be annoying to lure that freak out, actually. Okay, I got a bloater over here on the radar. This is another reason why the survey car is so good.
People try to tell me that Camp Erie was an aberration. That Red Talon isn't about enslaving people. But I know what I saw there. This shit is for real.
Okay, that's a third bloater down. Let's get this zombie off of my vehicle. And for anyone, like, you know, like, if you see someone making comments that Fox is so negative, he's so negative. No, I would say that I am 50% negative and 50% positive. I'm 50%, I think one of the decisions is a bad idea, the rebalancing of the suppressor and the brake. And then I think one idea was a good idea, which is the upgrading the Apocalypse vehicles to be more effective. The reason I talk about the suppressor and the brake more is because it's just a bigger deal. Like, there's more, it's a more intricate thing to discuss. Whereas the additional space on the vehicles, that's not a very complicated subject. It's okay, there's more space on the vehicle. Like, what more is there to say about it? So let's go ahead and go back. We'll turn in this bounty, and then we'll wrap things up. I think that's good enough for today's intermission. But yeah, that's what, like, you know, if you want to say someone to, like, the people who say that I'm a hater of the game or something, just tell them that. Like, I spoke about one good thing and one bad thing. It's just that the bad thing is a more intricate and nuanced thing to discuss, so it took more minutes of the video to talk about, whereas the vehicles, whoa, let's not get trapped on the rocks. Squish this guy. And we'll get our bounty.
Hello, my friend.
Which is this right here. There we go. We'll get to see how it works very soon. What am I doing? Ferals and bloaters with fire. What else can I do? Bloaters with a crossbow. That we'll start working on that tomorrow. So yeah, here's the mod. The wood stove, the simple source of warmth and joy as long as we have materials to feed it. Like I said though, they did say it doesn't actually reduce the amount of materials that you have. It just needs materials. You just need to have at least one material in your base, and it works.
Give your neighbor a hand. Or two.
But that'll be it. I want to know what you think, though. I know a lot of you will be disappointed that this is just another bounty broker pack. I fear that I was right about the bounty broker, that it will not be used for anything interesting. It's just going to be used as a way for them to do their quote-unquote live services, which, you know, adding in a bunch of mostly pointless items. Like, I don't know if these items are pointless, as some of the weapons could be very effective. Like, I don't have them yet, so I can't comment about their effectiveness. But for the most part, the stuff they've added has not been... It's kind of like... It's just there for collector's value. You wouldn't really use it over a different weapon. But we'll just see. They did say that they have something bigger planned, and that it does include something from the wish list. We will see what that is coming in, I believe March. March is when they said that they're going to have more stuff to show. So let's go ahead and throw that in. Let's plug it in and we can see the effect of it. What is this? Ah, this is that one. We'll remove it from here. And where is it? Right here. So it's going to be kind of like this thing right here. The comfy chair plus 3 morale. It's just a good filler item, you know. Plus 3 morale in a facility that wasn't really doing anything with a mod. Like, I think that's, you know, that's nothing wrong with that. Perfectly reasonable thing. While that's installing, why don't we just take a quick lap around and see if there are any bloaters for us to pop. Because that'll be a lot faster. Popping 4 with the crossbow, gonna be able to do that way quicker than explode or burning 8 of them with fire. There's a screamer, but we don't care about it anymore. Maybe we'll find the one feral? Maybe. In fact, I might have the grenade launcher equipped, because the feral is obviously a faster and more dangerous enemy. Want to have the right weapon equipped. And then if I see a bloater like that, we can just swap over right here. Okay, that's 1 out of our 4 bloaters. Don't see anything over there. Wood stove is in. This is what I mean by normally screamers are everywhere. There's a trio of them there. So that one time that I was having trouble finding them for a bounty, I'm just like, what the heck, man? Normally screamers are just all over the place. One last look. Okay, let's go back in and we'll take a look at the mod. First, I want to physically locate it. Here it is. As you can see, the fire is on. It is the wood burner. And let's take a look at its stats. The wood stove, plus 3 morale with materials, but doesn't consume materials. So that's perfectly fine. That's basically, I don't see anything wrong with you buying multiple copies of this and just sticking it into every single facility that doesn't have a relevant mod.
Again, for all the help the sheriff provided. We had a little extra, so we figured we'd share.
Like this right here, if I didn't have a comfy chair, I could just buy another one of these. I presume it would work that way, and I would just stick it right in there, and it would be fine. But yeah, that's what you could do for pretty much everything that doesn't have a slot that you're using it for. At any rate, that's going to be the end of today's episode. Let me know what you think. Do you think I'm right about the brakes being a bad change? That it's actually more of just a nerf to suppressors rather than a buff to brakes? I mean, like, especially if you're playing on Nightmare Zone, are you going to use a brake now? I'm not. I don't have any intention to use a brake. And just let me know, what do you think about these changes? Do they excite you? Do they interest you? Do they get you to, if you haven't been playing State of Decay but you've been watching the channel, does this make you want to jump back in and play? Let me know what you think down in the comments section. But that's the end of this episode. Like this video, if it's okay, subscribe for future State of Decay 2 content. Of course, remember that you don't have to be good to get good.